Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have no script for this meeting, as I said last time. We've covered all the material, so I thought I would use this for questions. Um, and how should you prepare for the exam? I would study that memory aid, the problems on it, as if I'm not going to have it. If you wait, if you don't study for the exam and you wait, you're going to run out of time. This exam is a little bit more difficult because the material is a little bit more difficult, but it's also twice as long. So there's a lot of material for you to absorb. If you look at the back of the PowerPoint slides at the very end of them, there are some proposed questions. I would look at those for possible questions for the exam. Now, I'm not going to answer those directly, but if you'll post a question to Moodle and let another classmate respond, I will then verify whether or not they're right. But brace yourself. This is not like the first two exams. The material's a little tougher, but more than that is twice as much. Are there any problems or questions from any specific chapter you would like me to work?
Dr. Cook, I have a question on one of the problems on the memory aid.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I have a mistake, Haley?
I don't know. I'm just not quite sure where the number came from. So it might not be a mistake. It might just be that I don't know where it came from. Under where you have operating capital for free cash flows.
One second. Let's see if I can pull that up. Okay.
It's on the second page.
Yeah,
It's the FA net. Where did the 1,000 come from?
from the balance sheet.
Okay. And so in the givens up at the top, it has FA equals 800. So where did the other 200 get factored in?
Well, that was FA, wasn't that for the prior year?
I'm not sure.
Me either. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to pull down that memory aid very quickly. Here we go. Okay, which page is it?
It's on the second page on the top right example.
Right. Fixed assets 800. Uh, huh. I made this up a while back and I just flew through your slides, copying and pasting.
It might be correct. I just don't know where the other 200 gets factored in.
Down there where you see, you know what, I don't think it is correct. Where you see, all right, top right page, that example problem about middle way. Let me see if I can pull this up for you to view. I'm learning things about my laptop, my tablet. And one of the things I've learned is if I don't open something before we start a Zoom session, it won't let me share that document afterwards. So let me go back to, all right, stop share. Look at the one that you just mentioned. 12, 11, 10, 3, 8. Well, this is bad. um, Give me 1 second. I'm getting there. Every funny little thing you can think of is happening, including I just got a message that my internet connection is unstable. If I do disappear, I'll come right back. All right. Sorry, once again. Let me pull that down. I'm going to my cloud storage, Google Drive. And no, all right. That's enough. Okay. Second page. Current assets are 1,037, marketable securities, yada, yada, yada. Fixed assets are 800. Okay, that should be 1,000. Where it says fixed assets equals, yep, make that 1,000.
Okay.
And everything is good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, I just realized my memory aid's not a PowerPoint file, it's a Word file. Yeah, that takes care of the problem. The fixed assets are 1,000. That
Okay,
was
thank
a
you.
typo. Again, let me see if my funny system will let me share that with you. And the answer is no. Oh, wait, here we go. Show all windows. Nope. Anyway, in that problem, oh, it's not PowerPoint, Cud. Wake up. Okay, maybe I can share it with you now. Nope, it will not let me pull it up. Nope. Sorry, guys. Okay. In the, where it says fixed assets, that should be 1,000. If you drop down about 4 formulas, you see operating capital is equal to NOWC plus fixed assets. We found the net operating capital to be 800 in that problem. And what we're plugging in for fixed assets is 1,000. So fixed assets should have been given as 1,000. Think of it as a typo and everything else works out. And I apologize for that. Like I said, I make mistakes. Most of them are typos. What else?
Okay, Doc. Slide 9, chapter 9, slide 31, and
Chapter 9, slide 9, right?
no, slide 31, and then 52. I tried solving, but I think I just had a little problem.
First, what chapter?
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9. Okay. My print, there we go. Slide 9. Okay. You're seeing this chapter 9 slides now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, slide 9 is a graph. Is that what you're talking about? That guy running steps?
No, slide 31.
Slide what?
31, 31.
Okay, not chapter 9, but chapter 3.
No, chapter 9. Chapter 9, slide 31. Zumba stockholders
71?
require.
Okay,
31.
31. Zumba.
Yeah.
All right. You want me to work it out?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to cheat and do this a little bit easier way. Stockholders for Zumba require 15% return. The last dividend, D0, was $1. Guys, I'll make you a deal. This is a two-stage growth problem. Well, no, okay. The growth rate for the first 3 years is supposed to be 30%. Then the growth rate thereafter is a constant 4%. Assume you sell the stock after 3 years. All right, for this kind of problem, stockholders are requiring 15%. We've got a dividend for the year just ended of $1. And the growth rate for years 1, 2, and 3 is 30%. And then the growth rate thereafter is 4%. What's the value of the stock? And in the problem, I told you, assume that we sell the stock after 3 years. At the end of the non-constant growth period. If sold after 3 years, our cash benefits would be 3 years of dividends and a selling price. To get the selling price, in any year T, you can take the dividend for year T times 1 plus the growth rate, at constant growth rate, divided by R sub S minus the constant growth rate. So we need to figure out the dividend in year 1, which would be $1 times 1 plus 30%. Then playing leapfrog, letting the second dividend grow by 30%, would get $1.69. Then the third dividend, again growing by 30%, would be, and I'm carrying it out a little bit, 2.197. So to get the value of the stock in year 3, we take the dividend in year 3 times 1 plus that constant growth rate. The dividend in year 3 is $2.197 times 1 plus that constant growth rate of 4%, then divide by the stockholders' required rate of return minus that 4%. Now I'm getting a selling price of $20.77, and that's in year 3. So our cash benefits would be these 3 dividends. If we sell the stock after 3 years, we'd get 3 years worth of dividends and the selling price. So at this point, we'd use our calculator. Let's assume you're using a VA2 plus. You clear out all the old values. It would prompt you for the cash flow at time 0. There is none, but you have to put 0 in so that it'll keep track of the timing. Then you have the next cash flow would be the year 1 dividend, which would occur 1 time. The year 2 dividend, which would occur 1 time. And in year 3, you get both the dividend for year 3 and that selling price. They occur at the same time, so you can add them. So that would be 22.97, I believe. You check that again, just double check. Yeah. Then go to NPV. It prompts you for your discount rate, which is 15. And enter, down arrow, and compute. Now let me see if I get my check figure. I'm getting 1751. And that's what we think the stock is worth now. When you have a stock that has multiple stages of growth, you assume you don't sell the stock until the start of the constant growth period. Since we've got uneven growth for 3 years, and then it settles into 4% thereafter, we assume we sell the stock after 3 years. So our cash benefits would be 3 years worth of dividends plus that selling price. Because all of this produces uneven cash flows, we have to use the CF key of our calculator. Enoch, did that answer your question?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. Yes, I'm just okay.
What else, guys?
Well, the same chapter, That's slide 52 as well.
Same chapter?
Yeah. Yeah, same chapter.
Okay. I'm looking for it. Sorry. That's interesting. It's disappeared on me. All right, give me a second to make sure it is still there. I think I inadvertently closed it.
Okay.
All right, again, this is chapter 9, slide 52. What's on your slide 52?
Dolby. It's a problem. That's Dolby call.
Okay. Is it Dolby preferred stock?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what we've got, this is Dolby preferred stock. I wonder, let's see if we could. Dolby preferred stock pays an annual dividend of $5 every year.
No, it's not that. It's Dolby had a FCF for the year just ended of 20 million.
Enoch,
Hi, Doc.
is this one out of the slides or out of the memory aid?
As of the slide,
That's where I am.
the slide 52, 52.
Okay. Actually, the slides are not quite numbered the same, but I'll find you. Dolby had free cash flow.
Yes.
All right. And this is actually a corporate valuation model. The free cash flow for the year just ended was 20 mil.
Correct.
Okay. It's expected to grow at a 20% rate for 3 years. And then settle into a growth rate of 5% thereafter. Its cost of capital is 9%. it has 80 million in interest-bearing debt. That would be notes payable plus long-term debt is 80 mil. No marketable securities, no preferred stock, and it has 40 million shares of common stock. And using the corporate valuation model, what's the value of the shares? Just like with the multi-stage dividend model, where we assume we sell the stock after 3 years, we use the free cash flow to estimate the value of the operating assets. So to make this work, we assume there'll be the sale of the operating assets at the end of the non-constant growth period, which would be period 3. Now, the value of the operating assets is the present value of all future free cash flow. So again, to find the free cash flow in year 1, we take the free cash flow for year 0 times 1 plus 30%. And then in year 2, playing leapfrog, we let it grow again by 30%. And then again, we let it grow by 30% one more year. And if we were to sell the operating assets at the end of year 3, our benefits would be 3 years of free cash flow. And the value of the operating assets in year 3. To find the value of the operating assets in year 3, we can take the free cash flow for year 3 times 1 plus that constant growth rate, divide by the cost of capital minus that constant growth rate. And we get 43.94 times 1 plus, let's see, what is it, 5%. And our cost of capital is 9 minus that constant growth rate. I'm getting 922.74 mil. These are all in mils. So to find the value of the operating assets, we have to discount these future cash benefits in the way of free cash flow. We have to discount them back to the present. Using your calculator, again, I would have, let's see, CF shift clear to get rid of all the old values. It prompts me for the cash flow at time 0. There is none. Then the free cash flow the next year is 26, one time. The next year, 33.8, one time. And the next year we get a combination of 43.94 mil plus 922.74 mil. And I can add them because they occur at the same time. That's 966.68. Then I find the net present value using my cost of capital as my discount rate. And that gives us the value of the operating assets at time 0. So let's see. Give me a second to walk through this. 26. Then 966.68. Cost of capital. I'm getting a value of operating assets today at T equals 0 of, I got 798.76 mil. Then I run this through the balance sheet equation. The value of operating assets plus the value of non-operating assets, which is marketable securities, is equal to the value of interest-bearing debt. Plus, I could have preferred stock if the company had some. We have found the value of operating assets is 798.76 mil. We're told the company has no marketable securities, so non-operating assets are 0. The interest-bearing debt is given as 80 mil. We have no preferred stock, so we can solve for the value of the common stock, common equity, if you will. And that would be the 798.76 minus 80. I think I can do that in my head. 718.76 mil. Then finally, to get the value of the stock per share, we take the value of all the shares divided by the number of shares. And we had how many shares of stock outstanding? 40. 40 million shares. So that minus 80 is that 40. I'm coming up with $17.97 a share. And that's not the check figure, is it? You know what I did wrong? In the problem, that growth rate was supposed to be 20%. And I treated it like it was 30. This should have been 1.20 each time.
Okay.
I think that if you run it through, I'm not going to do that right now. Your revised figure will come out to the 1734, I think.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Far away.
On the memory aid, there's nothing to do with the two-stage growth. Will we still be responsible for that?
Kind of suggests you might not, huh?
It does. That's why I'm seeking clarification.
Yeah, and what did I use our time for just now? I worked two-stage growth problems, one with dividends, one with free cash flow, but Haley, I did not absolutely say there wouldn't be, but
Right.
it looks unlikely, doesn't it?
It does. Okay.
Okay. What else?
I had one last question, if nobody else has any. On the example for chapter 12 on the memory aid, can you just walk through that? Because I'm having a hard time following it, but I'm not really confident on those problems anyways.
Okay. The memory aid, which is a Word document. There we go. Finally. This is where, oh, it's one big long problem, isn't it? Or is
Yes,
it?
sir. It's the right half of the page on page 4.
Yeah.
If you could
Okay.
just either talk us through it or something.
Yeah, what I would love to do is show it to you. Give me 1 second to see if I can get my bingo. All right. Can you see it now? That is the memory aid.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Cool, finally. Okay. We're looking at equipment that costs $2,000. We've got receivables, inventories, accounts payable. Okay. Working in the margins. One of the things we would look for is our initial cash outlay. And I may have to write and then erase it to have space, but one of the things in the initial cash outlay that you'll have is a working capital investment, possibly. And of course, working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. We're going to have current assets go up by 400 due to receivables. Inventories will go up by 200. And we've got accounts payable of 150. Let's see, 6 minus 150 would be 450. We'll have a $450 million increase in working capital. And an increase in working capital would be a cash outlay. So I wonder if I can write over here. Ooh, I can. And then it disappears. That's not good. Okay. So the initial cash outlay will consist of sorry, guys, what I've got, here we go. Hang on, I'm making space here. We'll have the cost of the equipment, which is 2,000. And we'll have a working capital investment, which we just figured out is 450. So our initial cash outlay would be a negative 2450. Then to get our, oh, there it is. Huh. I'm wasting time over here. I have it worked out. Yeah, I'll walk you through it. Sorry about that. It's a 2-year project. They're going to abandon it in 2 years. So one of the things we want to get are the operating cash flows for each year. Wow, I've got so many typos in this. Okay, bear with me. I am going to just write it over here in the margins. All right. For the operating cash flow, we want the change in revenues after tax. We're looking at revenues of 3,000 per year. And I'm doing this first for year 1. And a tax rate of 40%. We would also have the change in cash operating costs after tax. We've got cash operating costs of $2,400 a year. And we would also have, and I ran out of space on that line, but continuing, we would also have our depreciation tax savings. And the cost of the equipment, sorry for all the juggling, the cost of the equipment is $2,000. Our year one depreciation, according to this problem, is 33%. That would give us our depreciation expense in year one, which is tax deductible. So we multiply it by our tax rate to get our tax savings. And that would give us an operating cash flow in year one of $624. Let me double check that. Since the other stuff looks a little wonky. Okay, 2,000. Yeah, 624. The operating cash flow for year two looks the same, except the depreciation percentage is different. We still have that after-tax sales revenue. We still have the cash operating costs after tax. And we still have depreciation tax savings only, and in year two, instead of 33%, we have 45%. So the operating cash flow in year two should be $720 is what I'm getting. And then for the terminal cash flow, yeah, this whole thing I left out, and I apologize for that. This part was left out of the solution. It should have been squeezed in right here. Then for the terminal cash flow, since we're talking about selling a depreciable asset, we have to calculate its book value, and the government will compare what we sell it for to its book value to see if we owe any taxes. This is the original cost of the equipment. And after 2 years, we have untaken depreciation. We've not taken the year 3 depreciation, which is given as 15%, or the year 4 depreciation, which is given as 7%. So the book value would be $440. You could also get that by taking $2,000 the original cost, minus the year 1 depreciation and the year 2 depreciation. That would also give you 440. Since we think we can sell it for 600 and it's carried on the books at 440, that would give us a taxable gain of 200. Then multiply it by the tax rate, and that would give us the tax on that gain. Well, not 200, what is it? 600 minus 440 would be a taxable gain of 160. Multiply that 160 taxable gain by our tax rate, and that gives us taxes of 64. So we expect to sell the salvage value, sell the equipment for 600, but for the government to come in and take 64 of that. So 600 minus 64 would be our after-tax salvage value. And then we would have recovery of the initial working capital, which in this problem was 450. And that would give us a terminal cash flow of 986. So for this problem, we would have, I need a different color. Okay, well, I'll go with this. We'd have an initial outlay, 2450, operating cash flows like cash profit in year 1 and year 2, and then an extra cash flow in the final year of 986. Haley, I think what confused you is I totally left out this solution for the operating cash flow for year 2.
Yes, sir. That makes a lot more sense now.
So you're good on this?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool. What else? Who else? On this memory aid, you did catch it that in an earlier problem, yeah, on the first page, that fixed assets, instead of 800, it should have been 1,000. I'll call that a typo. If between now and your exam, you have another problem, a question, whatever, you can either email, probably the simplest for you would be just to email me. And I'll probably answer it with a Moodle post because there are a lot of special characters in Moodle that I don't have an email that allows my response to look more like what you're used to in class. Anything else, guys? When is your exam?
May 4th at 8.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday at 8 o'clock. And what should you do about, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes before then?
Log into Zoom.
Yeah.
Log into Zoom. I've already sent you the link for that. Log into Zoom. You're going to log into Zoom and then make it small or minimize it. And then you'll get into Moodle. Click on the exam and that'll start your exam. Instead of you being monitored by ProctorU, and if you've ever had that, you don't like it, I'm assuming. Instead of that, I'm going to watch you through Zoom the whole time. I'm the monitor. Anything else?
So Doc, if I'm to understand you, at 8 o'clock, are we supposed to start, or by 8 o'clock you'll be there, so we start together? I thought by 8 o'clock you'll be around and then we'll start together.
Well, it would be good for you to try to log into Zoom a few minutes before then.
Sure. Okay.
And then at 8 o'clock, all of you go into Moodle. You minimize your Zoom. Don't close it. Minimize it. Your Zoom screen. You know what I mean by minimize, right?
Yeah.
Just to be double sure. In the upper right-hand corner, you have this,
Yeah.
and this. And what you want to do is hit that. That'll minimize it.
Sure.
If you guys don't have anything else, I will see you Monday morning.
All right.
One last time. All right.
All right.
Have a good week. Be safe.
Okay.